The situation that's happening in America now is causing banks to be terrified and paranoid. And the reason why it's causing banks to be terrified and paranoid is because there's a lot of houses that's going into foreclosure because people can't afford to pay the mortgage. And the reason why people can't afford to pay the mortgage is because the cost of living. So banks really don't know what to do. So they're trying to figure out what's the solution for the situation. And I know we wasn't prepared for this, but it's a lot of people who can't afford a mortgage right now because the cost of living is just steady going up. So in this video, we're about to talk about the reason why banks are becoming terrified of these foreclosures.
My buddy works in Dallas, Texas, and he works for a bank. And he said to me, Drayton, we have so many houses that we could close in foreclosure that we're not because we don't know what to do. We literally have thousands and thousands and thousands of homes we could close on tomorrow. We could foreclose tomorrow. There are some people that haven't made a payment in over a year. He goes, thousands of people haven't made a payment in 6 months. But the bank doesn't know what to do. The bank's like, if we close on all of them, we put the people out, we don't have people to put in the houses. So now we have empty houses. So banks don't know what to do. That's how bad it is just in the Dallas area. I'm not talking San Antonio, Austin. I'm talking about just the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Thousands of homes that are way behind on payment. Payments haven't been made in over a year. And the banks are not foreclosing yet because they simply don't know what to do. They have so many that they don't have a plan on what to do if all those thousands of houses were empty. That's how bad it's getting. And this is just the beginning, because sooner or later you got to get the people out of these houses. And this is going to cause a calamity, and it's literally a ticking time bomb. When does it go off? This month? Next month? 6 months from now? I don't know, but I can promise you this is the same situation in Georgia, Tennessee, Florida. Yeah, it's going to get really, really bad. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like and follow for more.
People need to also understand that a lot of the reason that the foreclosure rate is not higher and isn't at that 2008 level yet is because the banks don't know what to do right now. There are thousands of banks across the US right now that have a foreclosure list so big they don't know where to start. There have been 228,000 foreclosures in the first 6 months of this year. I want you to sit on that number for a second. That is 250,000 fucking people in this country that were so bad off financially that there was no other route that they lost their homes. With the rate of inflation and the rate at which AI is taking people's jobs, this is only going to get worse. We've reached that level where there's no turning back. This bubble is going to pop. It is just a matter of when.
In June 2026 in the USA, home foreclosures are now 20% higher than foreclosures in 2025. 20% higher. That means over the last 120 days, people could not pay their mortgages. People cannot pay their mortgages. They cannot pay their car payments. They cannot pay their credit cards. They cannot pay their student loans. I did a video yesterday. Grocery prices are up 33% since 2019. Americans are buying 1.8% less food. 1.8% less food because it cost more for the same thing. 33% more. Over 2 million people have lost their jobs. Student loan delinquency skyrocketing. People are working, actually 75% of people are working 2 jobs in the United States. Did you know that? Look around. That means 3 out of 4 people that you know are working 2 jobs. 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. You know that consumers hold up 80% of the GDP, you and me. 80% of the economy is being held up by only 10% of Americans. Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. Our economy is collapsing every single day, and it's going to get worse.
You know, it's crazy. I made a video yesterday about the banks and how the banks are scared of what to do, what action to take right now, because they have a list of people that are 3, 4, 5, 6 months delinquent on their mortgages right now, that they know they aren't the only banks holding lists like that. It's every other fucking neighboring bank. It's them and their brothers too. If they decide to foreclose on this, that it will crash the fucking market. And they know that. That is why the foreclosure rate has not hit the rate that it was in 2008. They're holding on to it. They're choosing not to go after these people that are legitimately delinquent on their mortgages because they know what comes if they do. This is what happens when you have a market where the fucking price of homes gets so overinflated and people's wages stay stagnant for decades, going up, maybe 5% when the price of their home has changed 50%. These numbers do not coerce. This is what happens. This is a direct result of inflation. People not being paid enough and prices continuing to fucking skyrocket, especially fucking tax rates. Oh my God. People starting off, fucking 10 years ago had an $800, $900 a year payment for their taxes that are looking at $4,000 and $5,000 fucking dollars in a decade. It's bad, guys. Ask any of your friends that work at banks. Ask any of your friends that lend money on a housing level. Ask any of them. The market's scary right now. We're cooked, y'all. We're fucking cooked.
So this is why banks are terrified. Because foreclosures are happening everywhere, all across America. And the reason why foreclosures are happening is because it's various reasons. People really can't afford it. Situations are happening. People are just walking away from their houses, not letting the bank know with no notice. And people are just losing hope because they thought they can pay for these mortgage payments. But at the end of the day, they start to realize that it was a waste of time. Because nobody should have to live like this, trying to survive in America. And you know what was the American dream, right? You were supposed to be able to afford a house, live life comfortably, raise a family. But in this situation, that's not the case no more. Because you can't even afford anything with just one income no more. Jobs are not paying. So that's why a lot of people are not paying their mortgage payments. Some people haven't paid mortgage payments in 6 months. Some people haven't paid in a year. So that's why banks are just nervous everywhere. They want to remove the residents out their house, but they're starting to wonder if they move everybody out their house, who's going to come and replace them? Because the payments are already high. So that's why banks are becoming paranoid. They're scared. They're going to be stuck with these houses. And when a housing market used to be booming, people were looking forward to buying a house. Now, people aren't looking forward to buying a house because they're too expensive. And people are just staying in cars and tents now. They'd rather do that than pay a high mortgage rate. And it's becoming so outrageous to the point that we don't know where to go from here. And people are just not buying houses no more. And I think the banks get everything they deserve. Because these interest rates, these high insurance rates, it was all designed to keep the residents down. It was all a scam, I believe. And then they're increasing mortgage dates for longer than 30 years now. 30 years was already long enough. Now they're going to increase it. So that's the sad situation that we're living in. And that's why banks are panicking. And it's about to get worse. It's a lot of people that's just walking away from their houses. Houses aren't 100,000 anymore. It's starting to seem like houses are minimum 200,000 and higher. And that's everywhere you go. And they're expecting people to pay that off their salary. With inflation, high grocery prices, everything, etc. That's a nightmare. That's why the American dream of owning a house is a nightmare now. And people don't want that nightmare. So that's my take on this situation. Let me know how y'all feel about this one. And I'm going to see y'all on the next one. Peace.